What is up, everybody? I wanted to go over this report from Morningstar. It is their report on KOHL'S, ticker symbol KSS. And as you may know, KOHL'S is one of my largest positions. I've done a couple videos on the company. It is definitely a special situation. I own a lot of companies in my portfolio that I think are absolutely incredible, dominant businesses, and KOHL'S is not one of them. KOHL'S is what I would consider a low-quality company, but that doesn't mean it's a bad investment. KOHL'S is trading for only like 3 times operating cash flow, even after this run-up we've had in the stock price here. They are sitting on an absolutely massive amount of real estate in mostly very nice areas, suburbs of major cities. I think the price today is still significantly less than the value of this company, and you also have the additional potential upside of a short squeeze, which we saw a little bit of very recently. I was buying very aggressively in the $6 to $9 range. My average cost on this position is about $8, and it was never my intention for this to be one of my largest holdings, but you know, the price went up. That's the way it is. I'm not selling. I'm going to continue holding on, but you know, I found someone who's more bullish on KOHL'S than me, and it is this analyst here, David Schwartz. I mean, David Schwartz has been banging the drum for KOHL'S for a very long time. He's been saying fair value for this stock is $40 to $50 a share for the past couple years. Meanwhile, as KOHL'S stock has just declined and declined and declined, it was in the 20s, it dropped down. In the past year, it's gone all the way down to a low of $6. And the whole time the stock is doing this, every, couple months, David is putting out an update on KOHL'S saying, yeah, I think it's worth $40 a share, or $42 a share, or whatever it is. Now, I'll be honest, I don't put a lot of weight in what sell-side analysts say. Typically, these analysts, they just have a price target for a stock that's maybe, 20% higher than what the current price is. As the price of a company moves up, analysts just up their target price. Price drops down. There was a bad earnings report. Guess what? All the analysts, they drop their target price too. Most analysts don't really add much substance, and I think that's mostly because they're afraid of being fired or afraid of being just like really, really wrong, really off. I would have a lot more respect for an analyst who, instead of saying a stock is worth 20% more or 20% less than what it currently is, if they just come out and say, I think this stock is worth a 3x, or I think this stock price should be cut in half. And they're going to be wrong sometimes. If they're wrong, but at least I know where they stand. Anyway, David here, he clearly likes KOHL'S because even when they were trading for $6 a share, he still had a price target of like $41. And then eventually I think he dropped it from 41 to 40. That made KOHL'S, in the eyes of Morningstar, the most undervalued stock in the entire stock market. Even at the price it's trading for today, David is saying, you know what, I think it is worth more than a 3x from here. So let's dive in. Let's see what David is saying about this company. If you get value out of the video, subscribe to the channel. I absolutely cannot believe we have already passed 1,000 subscribers here. So thank you so much to everyone who has watched. Watching and enjoying the videos is the only support that I need. But if you want to buy me a coffee, I have a link down in the description below. I'm very grateful for any support. It helps me focus more time on these videos, but absolutely nothing is expected. Now back to KOHL'S. Valuation remains very attractive as meme stock mania takes hold. The whole narrative around KOHL'S as a meme stock has seemed very odd to me. I mean, I was buying KOHL'S when everyone hated it. I first bought in March and the stock went lower. I was down 25%. Everyone hated this company. I made my first video on KOHL'S in May. It was pretty hard to find anyone who said anything good about KOHL'S. Investing in KOHL'S was something you just did not want to admit to doing. Now, I guess it's considered a meme stock because it has a lot of short interest and it moves with other stocks that I guess you would call meme stocks, but there's a real thesis here. It's not like the investment around KOHL'S is a joke. I certainly wouldn't mind if some retail investors from Wall Street Bets or wherever wanted to jump in and buy KOHL'S stock, but that was never the basis for my thesis. Now, going into this report, on July 22nd, KOHL'S stock rallied nearly 40% on about 10 times normal trading volume as retail investors promoted it heavily on social media. I think actually it was about 20 times normal trading volume. The trading volume for KOHL'S is maybe about 10 million shares a day, and trading volume on that day was 200 million shares. That's almost twice the total number of shares of the entire company. It's as if the entire company almost traded twice in one day. Rather than fundamentals, these traders were attracted to KOHL'S short interest of more than 50 million shares. Yeah, that's probably true. It's still the case that almost half the float is short. We don't have up-to-date real-time information on short interest, but I wouldn't be surprised if it's still around a similar level. Why it matters. Following the recent dismissal of its CEO of only a few months, KOHL'S is trying to find stability after 3 years of declining sales and poor margins. Adding to its woes, it faces the prospect of higher tariffs on its merchandise. Yet, there's no doubt KOHL'S is a turnaround story. The firing of Ashley Buchanan, who was messing around, was very disappointing, definitely a negative for the company. Now they have to find someone else to steer the ship. They talked about tariffs on the last earnings call. It is going to be a headwind, but certainly not something they can't overcome. The rally in shares has no discernible impact on KOHL'S prospects or financial stability. Some companies that have experienced similar rallies have raised capital by selling new stock. There's no indication that KOHL'S will attempt to do this. KOHL'S is doing nothing because of this stock rally. Management is doing nothing either. I don't think there's any indication management has bought or sold shares here. We do not think a capital raise is needed. Although the interest on debt is high, the company's long-term debt is at a 10-year low and it has no maturities until 2029. Yeah, KOHL'S is not going bankrupt anytime soon. This is a cash flow positive business. They don't have debt they have to repay for 4 years. Yes, there's headwinds, but they have time to right the ship. And if they do right the ship, the upside here is going to be very large. We are not making any change to our $40 fair value estimate and view the shares as very undervalued. Although we rate KOHL'S as having no moat, we do not think the current valuation reflects its prospects for sales and operating margin improvement over the next few years. Yeah, I can't argue with David on that one. I don't think KOHL'S has much of a moat. I think they have a ton of competition, but I agree. I don't think the current price reflects the value of this company. As it looks for a new leader, we are encouraged that KOHL'S continues to address past mistakes with merchandising changes. That said, we forecast negative comparable sales through the end of 2025 as economic conditions depress spending by the company's largely lower middle class customer base. The shares have been very volatile. We encourage investors to focus on the company's long-term prospects and ignore short squeezes that are unlikely to persist. Once again, I agree. I don't think you should invest in KOHL'S and have the heart of your thesis be a short squeeze. That's the cherry on top. There are a lot of stocks with high short interest. Most of them do not do very well. But I think the short sellers got this one wrong on KOHL'S, and I think it's still offering great risk reward. And that's the end of David's update here in July. The last note that he had was back in June, about almost 2 months ago now. And pretty much regardless of where the price of KOHL'S has gone here, David has just been saying, yep, $40 a share, $40 a share. Up, it's trading for 6. It's worth 40. And we see in the eyes of Morningstar, anything under $20 a share, they are giving KOHL'S 5 stars, which is their equivalent of a strong buy. Again, this is just one analyst. He can be wrong. I can be wrong. This is not a recommendation to buy the stock. When KOHL'S comes out with their next earnings at the end of August, we're definitely going to take a look. They're almost certainly going to report a low to mid single-digit decline in comparable sales. Hopefully they have some more clarity on the CEO situation and who's going to be running the ship over there. But that's it for today. If you got value out of the video, subscribe to the channel. If you agree or disagree with anything I said here, leave that in a comment down below, and I hope to see you in another video.